Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good
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 morning.
morning.
morning, sir.
Good
Morning,
morning.
sir.
Very good morning. Okay. So, how are you guys? Good.
All good, sir. How are you, sir?
Good.
Good,
Good.
sir.
Good. Good. I am going to discuss few things with you, not with KIAMS related. Is outside KIAMS related. And this session is going to actually talk about those aspects of business. So all of you are ready for that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
can I request any one of you from the marketing area who has taken marketing as a specialization, just to please highlight what challenges you see in the current situation and in the coming 6 months? Marketing guys who have taken marketing, any one or two people?
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
Due to COVID-19 and in coming 6 months, sir, like field work is going to affect very badly just because no company wants to enter properly into the field work just because they have some fear regarding like coronavirus and all.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Anybody else from marketing?
So, like the sales will be very much affected. Like now, field work is going to be very
Can
less,
I
and
request all of you to please switch on the video if you don't mind? I can see you guys. अभी नाम दिख रहा है मुझे सामने. हाँ. राघव, अपूर्वा, शुभम, नीलाद्री, अनुश्री, तुम लोग हो कि नहीं?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, प्लीज स्विच ऑन करो वीडियो. लेट मी सी यू गाइस, ऑल ऑफ यू. Okay. Any finance guys who have taken finance as a specialization, please tell me what are the challenges you are seeing today and what you predict for next 6 months. Anyone who has taken finance? Nobody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Prathamesh
Prathamesh,
here,
tell
sir.
me what are the challenges you are seeing in finance in today's situation and the next 6 months? Talk from the industry perspective.
Hmm.
Okay, you think till then let me move to operations. Anybody who from operations?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, tell me. Operations. See, I will start pulling out the names. You force me to do that actually.
Yes, sir. What is good morning, sir? What is the question?
The
Because
question is,
I've just joined.
yeah, question is that in the field of operation,
Hmm.
what are the challenges you are seeing the industry going through today, and what is your prediction for the next 6 months?
For the operations, it's mostly in the manufacturing sector. It is very challenging because people are rapidly affected by this COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So the main, what I think is the main shift will be on the supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there is a good scope in the supply chain and this supply chain analytics parts
Mm-hmm.
because the next 6 months and this coming year, you need to this forecast and predict the real amount of what kind of order is going to come and how you can manage that with your operations and your supply chain and your all this logistics and how you manage your inventory, which is still with you due to the situation.
Okay.
So I think this is going to be a challenge for operations.
Anybody from HR department? HR? Anyone from HR? Marketing, I said general management is something which I can't talk because there is nothing called a general management domain of working in the industry. Okay, see, I have called you guys today for these sessions to interact with you, not regarding any job or other prospect. Please understand, I am making it very clear. It is nothing to do with your job and other things. I'm talking on conceptual thing, and I would be happy if you can develop a perspective about it because you guys are going to be there in the industry very soon, and you may interact with the industry for your employment in it and many other aspects very soon. So it is very important for you guys to develop a perspective about the industry today and tomorrow. I'm not sure how many of you are actually keeping a close eyes on the reports which are developed by Deloitte, KPMG, McKinsey, AC Nielsen on COVID situation worldwide and COVID situation in India. But let me give you a perspective and you also try to think on that perspective because otherwise we will miss out a lot of things during this pandemic. Government in the month of December, look at the timelines. In the month of December, there was a report sent to World Health Organization regarding some problem which was happening in China in the month of December. All those who have switched off the video, I am just assuming that you are there. So I am trusting you and I'm talking. Okay. So in December, the report was sent to World Health Organization, and the World Health Organization did not by then establish a relationship of such a dangerous virus because there was a lot of information which was not sent by China to WHO for establishing that relationship that this can be a global pandemic. They could not. But the moment it started spreading, because during that time, lot of American, lot of Korean, lot of European were going to China and coming to China, and lot of Chinese people were traveling to other countries also. The virus was spread. After that, by the time India started taking measurements, it was March. And all of a sudden, on 22nd of March 2020, there was a lockdown announced by the Prime Minister of country. While the lockdown was announced by the Prime Minister of country, it was to take care of the health of the people, but a lot of people who were there on daily wages were into trouble because immediately the industry stopped making payment to them and they became jobless. Over a period of time, when you see the economical development, when you deal with your day-to-day life other than pandemic, we never realize that in India, when we read about bottom of pyramid, when we talk about poor nation, when we talk about middle class, when we talk about those pyramids which are there in the research reports which says that so many people in India are into poor category, so many are into middle class, so many of them are, and only 2% or 1% of the elite class are into rich class kind of thing. When we read these things, it is difficult for us to relate that is that true. We don't many times trust on that data. But this pandemic actually told us that there were lakhs and lakhs of people who were walking on the street with their family to go back to their hometown, and we have seen all news around it. A lot of people died, a lot of people lost their job. While they were going during that point of time, everybody wanted to go back home because they felt that what will they do by staying in Mumbai or Pune or Hyderabad or Delhi or any part of the country for that matter. And then when the research came, the research said that who were those people, from where these people were there. So majority of the states like Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Bihar, Jharkhand, UP, these were majority states from where a lot of people were working into small scale industry, middle scale industry on a daily basis. While the industry went on lockdown, the daily work stopped. When the daily work stopped, very clear bifurcation came of people who are daily wages, people who are on rolls of the organization, and people who are into lower management, people into middle management, people into top management. Now, these classifications, when we study in HR, we don't actually relate it when unless you work in the industry. But as a student, when you see the entire episode today, you will very clearly come to know the economic health of our country, at the same time, the diversified state of earning which we have. When we talk about consumption, when we talk about economic growth, when we talk about demand, when we talk about supply, when we talk about all these things, we do not realize many a times that we are into a difficult country, we are into a complex country, and our per capita income is not in comparison to other countries which are there. Maybe they are much higher than us in terms of per capita income. That is one. So that got exposed. Immediately, industry washed their hands, saying that we don't have requirements, we would not be able to pay. Because please understand this, as an industrial policy, no industry or no capitalistic people would like to pay even a single penny to you when you are not contributing to their organization. So these all philosophy of your working for 20 years or you have contributed to the organization of 10 years, 15 years, these all philosophies are good for philosophy, but when it comes to practice of money, many organizations don't want to practice that by giving you money. That is where culturally the organization differs. In the same process, there will be some organizations who might have taken extra care of the people who are working with them, and they might not have left their hand just like that. So there are organizations which are culturally strong, value based strong, and these are the time when you can see those things happening very clearly outside the organization. Other side of the story is that if these number of lakhs and lakhs of people have lost their job, and because of lockdown of almost 3 months, they had no job, from where they would have managed their family. Obviously, they might have gone through a difficult pain. Suppose the same situation happens with you. You do not get a job, you don't have money, you have four people dependent upon you don't have a place to stay, you don't have a workplace to work for, and you do not have money also in the corpus to survive. What would you do? So basically, two things happens. One, which is normally called as drop in the demand or drop in the consumption, is a very managerial and scientific approach. But beside this, what happens to a human being is the human being decides that have I made a mistake by leaving my hometown, coming to another town in order to develop my future, and today I find myself helpless. I find nobody is there in this city who can help me, and therefore this mental depressive mental blocks is something which is going to be there in the mind for a very longer time than a demand and supply. Demand and supply curve can come back after some time, but the mental block which people have gone through, what will happen to that? And why I am talking about this mental block? Because in the process, if people, if at least 30% of the total people who moved out from the cities decides not to come back to those cities or decides not to come back back and look for industry, there will be a lot of small scale industry which are not seen by us but will be affected and will go through a severe talent problem, severe skill problem. Now you understand another part. This is one part of the story. Government, you might have seen Prime Minister coming again and again, Finance Minister coming again and again. There are a lot of policies which are told to the people that we are crediting money directly to the accounts of the people. We are giving rice, dal free to the people. We are giving what is a LPG gas free to the people, such that they can survive in this pandemic. Prime Minister Prime Minister Modi also initiated a fund called as PM Care in the beginning of the pandemic, and there was a lot of money which was given to by people, by corporates into the Prime Minister Care Fund. So 100% that Prime Minister Care Fund would help in fighting with this pandemic. But nobody in this country had ever thought that health will become a primary consideration for such a large country where we do not have proper medical facilities. Therefore, health management is something which is going to be there for the next decade. If you deep dive in your own thoughts, you will find that each one of you must have gone through a severe thought process about how to save yourself from this pandemic. That is one. At the same time, you must have thought at least once how to ensure that my family and I am protected through health. Now, while I'm saying protected through health is the demand of these health insurance organizations, which were into a sales pitch earlier, make itself into a purchase pitch after some time. Because each one of us somewhere realized that we need to have a health insurance. Why do we need a health insurance? Because in such cases, when the cost of treatment is going to be high and you do not have liquid cash with you, or you have not made provisions of medical treatment in your day-to-day earnings, you may find it difficult to get properly treated. And looking at the current situation, none of us would actually like to go to a government hospital for getting treated even for a normal things, because we know very well that we are not very good in health infrastructure in the country. This is one. Coming to the point of investment, all those finance guys who are doing their immersion or who are studying about investment market, in the coming 6 months, I am not very sure about, we have to study about this. But one thing which has been very common with the organizations as well as individuals are that each individual would like to save cash reserve with them. Even organizations at different levels are saving cash reserves. None of the organization in this period of time is looking for any investment in terms of assets or in terms of any further investment for business development unless they cross through this pandemic situation. Organizations are struggling. Look, organization has a lot of corpus, crores of rupees. They are also struggling. So look at individuals who are having. There was an article which, if you remember, I don't know whether in a consumer behavior class or some other class, I'm not remembering, but there was a business standard article which I had shared with you guys, managing the EMI nation. And this is a business standard article, you can search it. That is managing the EMI nation. And in that, they had very clearly said that in the middle class family, at least 30% of people are under the loan of one or the other form. Either they have taken house loan, or they have taken car loan, or they have purchased electronic goods, or they have done so many other purchases. And even few months back, before March, all these e-commerce companies like Amazon, Flipkart, these e-commerce company has also come out with credit system where the customer can buy on credit and pay on EMI. And therefore, today, if you look at those structure, you will find that all the banks, all the e-commerce websites, even some of the shopping malls, Bajaj Finserv was one of the very supportive organization who cast upon EMI concept. Today, if the organization doesn't revise their demand and gets into more severe financial problems, they will choose to retain fewer people, they will choose to depend upon technology, and they would not be carrying a lot of baggage of people in the further course of action. In that case, if there is going to be a job loss, if there is going to be a job loss in the next 6 months, what will happen to those people who will lose the job? What will be the new normal? As of now, people don't know, but there are processes which are happening. Liladri was saying about operations that supply chain is going to be a uh, challenge. Now, please understand, supply chain is going to be a challenge. That is a very generic statement. In supply chain, you might have heard of something which is called as blockchain. Have you heard of blockchain? Any one of you?
Yes, sir.
Have you heard of blockchain?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And if you have gone through the detail of blockchain, you will find that the entire business processes are divided into small blocks which are hanged together in order to complete the process. In the simplest, in supply chain also, there are multiple points of contacts. There are multiple organizational point of contacts through which through which the entire supply chain efficiency is maintained. When you talk about supply chain, these are challenges which are going to come. Challenges which are going to come means there will be a new way of working on this. The industries will rediscover themselves, and there will be a lot of new things which will come up. One of them can be use of technology. Why I am not calling it as analytics is because analytics is not separate now. Analytics is a part of each and every domain of the organization, and therefore no process in the organization is without data today. No process in the organization is without insight today. Therefore, analytics is not separate. Analytics has become a part of the business, and it was also a part of business. Some technology changes has happened. For example, people had discovered earlier marketing research or business research, but now people are talking about AI, IoT, machine learning, cognitive intelligence, and so on. While we are talking about all these things, these are changes which will come up in the operations. What will happen to customer service? Already robots and bots are taking over. What will happen to automation? Will the customer care survive, or there will be complete automation of the process where a customer will have self help services? They are called as SHS, self help services, through which a customer goes to a particular site and help themselves in order to get the required service done or answers done. Even today, you will find that there are many automated softwares, algorithms which are fixed. You interact with a bot. There are text analytics, there are text intelligence which are put in there. So you give your query, they'll give you the answer. And therefore, there is no human intervention. These changes may become much stronger in the time to come. In HR, the biggest problem today in the HR department is how to optimize the human resource and cost both. So in the HR, what happens is there are two investments from HR side. One is called as recruitment, and second is called as training and development. In many places, it is called as learning and development. I don't think any industry as of now is interested in investing a single penny into learning and development of their employee. So please understand that in the coming 6 months, there will be challenges where you will join an industry and the industry would not like to invest a lot of money behind training you. They would expect that you come trained and you start working. They would not like to spend a lot of money in training you. That is one. Second is something called as HR automation. All of you are aware of all these things, but maybe you can make your profile more stronger. While we are talking about HR automation, while we are talking about digital HR, while we are talking about digital interface of HR, it does not limit themselves with the current employees. It starts from prospecting. And while you all are on LinkedIn, while you all are on Facebook, while you all are on Instagram, while you all are using all types of digital tools, please ensure that every tool which you are using is actually projecting you the way you want to be projected. Maybe in the next 6 months, HR people may not come to any campus or would not like to have a pool campus. There will be chances that the HR people would not look for number of people to come to the campus, because earlier they used to say that I will come to your campus only when you give me 100 people, 200 people to interview. There are chances that you may not even be called for the interview and you will be shortlisted. There are chances because the industry has moved earlier into digital recruitment process. It was there earlier also, but it was practiced in the hybrid mode. But now after pandemic, it is possible that they may ask you to send 2 minutes of self introduction video to the HR portal, whichever organization would like to hire you. So they may give you a link, they may ask you to upload a 2 minutes self introduction video such that they can see your video 2 minutes, and if then you are found suitable, they'll go for next round of interview. This is possible. So they are called as video resume. If you have not seen video resume, my request will be that you guys can kindly go and search for video resumes and try to have such kind of profile developed over digital platforms, because that is going to help you. All those people who have done digital marketing, please understand that those who have done business immersion into digital marketing and planning to continue to do digital marketing as a career, please understand, after some time, digital marketing will become obsolete, because you would not need to create digital copyrights. You would not be required to create a lot of text for digital marketing. In fact, your role will change and it will come as digital automation. It may happen that today whatever you are working, tomorrow it may be done or it may be automated, and it automatically gets done by some robotic process or by some automation process. Your job is going to change. And what are the changes which are coming? Let me give you some of the facts which are happening. The worldwide situation is not job market or global supply chain or global demand and supply will be impacted. It's already impacted and will be impacted. the ex-governor of RBI, Mr. Madan, has been constantly telling that privatization of public sector of sector to be the next game changer. And one of the facts you might have read in some news somewhere that government of India has already initiated a process of privatizing the Indian railways. While you are talking about privatizing the Indian railways, there is going to be routes which will be managed by corporates like Mumbai to Gujarat. There will be one corporate who will be given this route, and therefore all the trains running in this route, or maybe few trains running in this route, will be managed by that particular corporate. There is a lot of debate going on whether we should go for this privatization or we shouldn't go for this kind of privatization, because if we convert public sector into private industries, the affordability or the cost of maintaining or the cost of service will go higher. And are Indians, or do we have that much of population who will be able to afford those kind of services, because it's going to be higher. These debates are happening, these challenges are happening, but over a period of time, these are likelihood that these things will happen, because unless these things happens, Indian economy may not revive soon. Uh, Let me give you some of the scenarios. First scenario is, how many of you, let me ask you a question, how many of you feel that Indian economy will revive the moment the pandemic things are over? Tell me, don't sleep. How many feel that Indian economy is going to revive very fast?
It will take some time, sir,
Why it will take some time?
because there has been a long period of non-trade activities that was going in the country. So to
Mhm.
get back to that cycle, it will take some time. It won't happen just in a one day or a 1 week.
Okay, so you are basically saying, Varsa, that it will take time to come to a normal working condition. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So my further question is, if we are coming to a normal working condition, how much time it will take to revive the economy? When I'm saying economy
That
revival, I'm talking about GDP, I'm talking about per capita income, I'm talking about employment ratio, I'm talking about all of that.
I think that depends on the world condition also, sir, because only if the world economy also gets back into a normal stage, which
Hmm.
it was in before the pandemic or before like 2 years,
Okay,
then only the
good,
country, country like India will also get back to that stage where it was growing at a very increasing stage.
good. How many of you have a very good understanding over? How many of you have a very good understanding over how much is the Chinese product market in India?
Sir, I don't know about the whole, but our medicine, our raw material for medicine, 80% of raw material for medicine is imported from China.
Okay, and
It
how?
was a big,
Yeah, go
and it
ahead.
was 3% of China's exports, 2 to 3% of China's total exports.
Okay,
So
and
in
and
situation,
and
what is
what is the stake of China in manufacturing in India?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, my request to all of you will be, whenever you get time, you please study on China in Indian market and try to identify in different business domain. For example, in the in medicine sector, in automobile sector, in mobile sector, in technology sector, in software industry, what is the role of China and how much market China controls or has stake on. because that is going to determine a lot of things what is happening on the Chinese border. Right now, if we say boycott China, right now, if we say we'll not have a relationship with China in terms of business, is that going to impact India badly? Number one. I would also request all of you to volunteer to study about what happened to Make in India and Made in India process, how much investment from global perspective has come to India or being promised to India, and what will happen to them now post pandemic. This is something which you have to understand very clearly. Third point of view is, can you please go to employment website of government of India and try to cull out data from there and try to understand what has been the skill based employment in India from last 2 to 3 years or maybe last 10 years. Look at that data. Third category, you go and try and understand what is Manrega, and in Manrega, how much support government is able to give, and what is the volume of Manrega benefits. Volume of Manrega benefits means how many people in that circumstances are benefited. And then please read one article which is called as Impact of COVID-19 in India, published by KPMG. Impact of COVID-19, the economic effect in India by KPMG. They say very clearly, I'm just reading some of the scenario one, they say quick retraction across the globe, including India. And then they say China has significantly brought down the number of new cases of COVID, and its manufacturing sector is all set to resume normalcy. Now, while they are saying China has brought and manufacturing industry is going to be normal in China, you will have to very clearly understand as a business management graduate that how much powerful China is in terms of manufacturing, which is impacting the entire globe in the manufacturing. It's not about only India, it is about other parts of the country as well. And in that, if India gets into a business tussle with China, will India be able to survive without this manufacturing support, without importing materials from China, or without having a business relation with China? That is something which is question mark. That we do not know. But scenario two is that if India is not able to control the effect of COVID, which is spreading right now very high, it has, I don't know whether it has crossed 10 lakh today, but it was about to cross 10 lakh yesterday. And if the cases goes just like that, how it is going right now, earlier it was centralized to Delhi, Mumbai, and some places. Now it is spreading all across the country. And if it happens like Bihar, Jharkhand, UP, the villages, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, all these places now, if that spreads like this, will India or business houses be able to work 100% digitally and still achieve the output is a very, very, very big question mark, because many of us as an industry were not prepared for such kind of pandemic situation. Yes, some industries are technology driven, some industry are still adapting the technology, and therefore in India, if you look at various aspects, you will find that those organizations which were technology driven are the organizations who are somehow surviving, but those organizations which did not have technology driven methods and were depending upon technology adoption, they were in the process of slowly adapting the technology, are facing severe problems. So what will happen? Do the organization will have capability of transforming themselves into a direct technology center? Question mark. The third situation is, if situation of India COVID grows, and as WHO 2 days back said that the worst of corona pandemic is yet to come. It means if that is true what he is saying, if the worst is yet to come, are they saying that this will eat up the entire 2020. And if they are saying that yes, 2020, the entire till December, January, February 21 will be eaten away by this corona and these kind of unlock and lockdown, you just imagine that an entire year of an organization has gone, which means 4 quarter, which means a lot of loss into the organizational profitability. On top of that, organizations who were into frills business, like those who were selling luxury, organizations into service industries like restaurants, organizations who had hotels, OYO, taxis, small transporters, you will find all these people into a severe problem of financial crisis. This will impact a lot of employment, and the demand and supply curve in India at least is not going to be immediately normal. Therefore, there will be a lot of pressure on government for reserve and surplus, because they will have to support people, and in that process only in March, government of India created a Prime Minister Fund, and under the Prime Minister Relief Fund, there are lakhs of crores of rupees which are donated, and those money will be used in order to cope up with this kind of turbulent time in the coming scenario. There are some industries which are worstly hit. First is food industry, that is restaurant and other places, they are mostly hit. Clothing and footwear is also another industry which is hit by people, because I do not know, the data says that not many people have purchased a new clothes in last 6 months, or 6 months and since from March. So people who are having clothes at home, they are using those clothes, not a new purchase has not happened. Footwear industry, many people have not purchased a new footwear also. Third industry which is saying furnishing household equipments, or such kind of things which are called as what do you say, interior designing and all those kind of things. People have stopped investing into that right now. Those demands are postponed. The sector which has grown up is called as health, because health is something which is currently into consideration. The sector which is mostly hit is hotel industry, restaurant industry, transports, and above that you have the recreation, tourism, and these kind of industries. So if you look at these industries and understand their contribution to the entire economy and GDP of government of India, you will realize that it will not be that easy immediately to come up and run the economy, because even it is a global pandemic, the most impacted countries will be those who will always who has a lot of population and they are not self-sustained. This is the reason why you will find that government of India has started talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. Why they are saying Atmanirbhar Bharat? Because they are realizing that this pandemic is not going to easily get eliminated. At the same time, they're also realizing that if India does not depend on self-development, do not have self-skilled people, don't control the manufacturing, don't control the import and export, then possibly in the future for such pandemic, we will not be prepared, and we will again go through some of these kind of experiences which we are currently going through. There are some new concepts which has come. I'm just reading out few concepts. That is the end of this. There is something called as intelligent automation. Please understand, intelligent automation. While I'm saying intelligent automation, it is implicable to all processes of the organization. Under this, all all those things which you say, which are called as AI, IoT, machine learning, cognitive learning, and so on. Every automation of the organization inside is today clubbed into what is called as IA. IA is intelligent automation. Because why call it as intelligent automation? Because they have found that many industry kept on doing things in silos. For example, they automated HR, but they did not automate all the process of the organization. Sometimes they automated the customer service, but they did not automate the entire customer service. So all those organizations who did small interventions of technology has understood that they will have to convert themselves into technology driven and self-sustained organization, and in that process all of us are moving. There will be challenges, but organizations will definitely come out with something better. For the generation which is there today, who are going to pass out from management course or engineering course or so on, will have to now transform themselves into such kind of skills, because these are the things which industry will require in times to come. That is what I wanted to tell you guys today in my session. Next, whenever we are meeting next, we are only going to discuss upon China and India business collaborations and stakes. So kindly study something on that. Come out with some of the data which you find their contribution in manufacturing, their contribution in service industry, their contribution in mobile industry, their contribution in what is it, electronic equipment industry, their contribution in kids segment, their contribution in clothing segment, their contribution in automation segment. So if you come out with these things, then we will actually realize how far we can fight with China, and if China stops those services, or if we stop them, what will happen to us? Will we survive? We will not survive. If we don't survive, if we fight with China, what are the alternates which we have? So we will discuss this in the next session, and please keep your eyes open for all the updates which are happening in the industry in a general format coming out of your domain, because these general knowledge and these happenings which are happening is going to change your perspective. At the end, I just like to present one WhatsApp message which I have received, but I found it worth sharing with all of you. You are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir.
You are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I will
Yes, sir.
just show you one. You are able to see this.
Yes, sir.
Now see, Reliance is at
Yes,
war
sir.
with everyone. Now you look at this graph and you will realize how Jio is taking over the entire Indian market at different pieces. Like see, Jio Money is competing with Paytm and Google Pay. Jio Meet has come in competition with Google Meet and Zoom. Jio is already there. Jio and Savan is competing with music streaming industry. In the retail segment, Reliance Smart is already competing. In the electronic segment, you have Reliance Digital. In the e-commerce segment, they are coming out with GeoMart. I think they have come out with GeoMart. In oil and gas, you already have Reliance Petroleum. In media industry, you have Network 18. In healthcare industry, Geo Health Hub is something which is coming up. Now look at all these things, and you will understand that in the education industry also he is planning to come up. So do you think that in tomorrow's market, with this technology driven and technological interventions, Geo will have a command over most of these business dimensions? Because now Google has also said that Google will invest 33,700 crore into Geo, and already they have a tie-up with Facebook. So we have to wait and watch how things are unfolding, but keep an eye on these things. And then last thing is this: this is some PwC Price Water Cooper strategy plus business which they have come out with, and they say now the adapt will be defined like this. One is asymmetry, increasing wealth disparity, and erosion of the middle class. Remember this, what they are saying: increasing wealth disparity and the erosion of middle class. The crisis will hit poor people, poor regions, and poor countries hardest. Unemployment at the bottom of the wealth pyramid will grow. Small businesses will fail on a massive scale. That is one. Disruption. The pervasive nature of technology and its impact on individuals, society, and the climate. The power of the big tech platform companies will increase. Climate change will be less of a focus in the short term, but may become a stronger imperative in the longer term. Age, demographic pressure on business, social institutions, and economies. Fewer opportunity will be available for young workers. Pressure on pensions and social welfare systems will increase. Developing markets will struggle to stimulate job creation. Polarization, breakdown in global consensus and a fracturing world with growing nationalism and populism. Economies will become more localized owing to the reconfiguration of supply chains. Humanity may come together to solve important problems. And trust. They are saying declining confidence in the institutions that underpin society. Distrust in institutions, ability to respond fairly will grow. Some institutions and leaders will come out with the crisis with stronger reputation. In the process, I'm not saying this what they are saying is true or what they are saying is going to happen, but this is their perspective. They are looking at things in this way, and they are saying that coming era of business will have all these things. So it is important for all of you to keep a eye on all these developments which are happening in terms to keep yourself updated on these things. And tomorrow, if in the interview or any interaction, if things are asked to you, possibly you will be in the better position to answer those questions. One thing you must have tested by now, people in the industry versus people working from home independently. Please understand, this is called as independent employment. It means that I don't work for anybody. I work for something, like for example, I work for content writing. So I only give my support as outsourcer to content writing to some 3 4 companies, and while doing that I earn sufficient amount of money, and I don't want to get full time working with some organization. Possibly these are things which may come up. Tomorrow you may see our industry has become very lean, and there are people who are called as self-employed people who will be working for the organization as a support system, and that chain can also get developed over a period of time. So there are so many other things which will happen. Please keep an eye on these changes. It will keep you updated about what is happening other than your domain. So thank you very much for today's session. We'll meet next time, discuss about China and India collaboration. Please have some reading on that. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.